What do wine and TikTok have in common? Heavy wine bottles, pet peeve, or nothing at all? And a tasting room under a large oak tree. All that and more on this episode of This Week Uncorked. Well, hello everybody, and welcome to episode 6 of This Week Uncorked for Monday, August 26, 2024. I'm Brett Martin from Cork and Journey, your number one source for Corkage information. And with that, we've got a big week in wine news, so let's get right to it. Over at Wine Business, they've got a really interesting article on what do wine and TikTok have in common, how TikTok, basically what's going on is that TikTok wine ads are now legal. I guess TikTok had them illegal for a while, and marketers were all excited about it. I thought this would be like a little short piece. This is a really in-depth look at who's on social media, who buys wine on social media, why you would want to advertise on social media. And evidently TikTok is a big deal when it comes to advertising for wine. I guess people do studies on everything. So an very specific study was done. The 2024 Wine Market Council found that 40% of wine drinkers use TikTok more than once a week. So I don't know. A lot of people drink wine. A lot of people use TikTok, evidently, but there's a lot of great graphs, really interesting. So, hey, if you're in the wine business, you're thinking about, hey, where can I advertise next? Maybe TikTok is for you. And also from our little headlines here, Wine Spectator has got a really interesting little article on 9 terms that basically wine professionals are sick of seeing. I kind of agree with every single one of them. There's a lot of them that I think we get very trendy in our society. So you've got natural wines. And man, there's a whole definition of what a natural wine is, what it can be. And then this whole phase of I'm going to make a wine, and after I age it, I'm going to age it in a whiskey barrel or a port barrel, which I personally think is just a way of covering up bad wine and giving it a little gimmick. And sugar-free wines. One of the things that got me, though, was there was an entire section in here about heavy wine bottles. And if you'll notice, sometimes you get a bottle of wine, it is so heavy, the glass is thick, it's just so ridiculous. And there's a problem here. If there's a carbon footprint, there's the shipping, there's the cost of production. And there's been a movement for a very long time around kind of the standardization of a wine bottle. If you look at the Bordeaux bottles from France, those are kind of a standard type of bottle that you might want to model after. You actually could make that one even a little lighter at all. But I think it would be interesting if everybody could agree on one kind of wine bottle. Then you could easily recycle them. You just wash them out, reuse them, and just kind of, go over and over again. There's been a movement around that. California's got something going around that. There's an industry trying to move in that direction. A lot of winemakers think it's a really good idea. Carlo and Dante Mondavi over at Rain, they're really into some interesting stuff over there. They've got an electronic harvester and some other things that they've done, and they've been championing this as well. So anyway, there are many other things that evidently wine professionals are sick of seeing, but you'll have to head over to Wine Spectator to get the rest of those. And over at Wine Searcher, don't believe the hype, wine can be healthy. This is going to kind of go together. I've got 2 articles here. There's a really interesting study that basically goes back to the French paradox from years ago, which is, hey, if you have a couple glasses of wine, are you healthier? And so there's a new study that was done looking at a bunch of people over a long period of time who were moderate drinkers, heavy drinkers, the whole thing, and determined that wine in moderation can be good. But man, does this get twisted around. You've got a whole bunch of opinions on this, but I've seen more and more articles on this. And we're going to talk about one more article that kind of ties right into that. But before we do, let's give a plug to our buddy Rex Pickett over at rexpickettbooks.com. If you haven't read Sideways or the rest of the Sideways series, this is Sideways Oregon, originally released as Vertical, but now renamed Sideways Oregon. You should do that. You should read all these books. They're great. If you love the movie, you're going to love the books. So all you got to do is head over to rexpickettbooks.com. And when you go there, you're able actually to say, hey, Rex, write me something special, and he'll autograph it. What did I have here? Brett and Tina, between here and here lies the Rubicon of the imagination. All the best, Rex Pickett. That's right. Anyway, he will autograph the books. He will send them to you. He actually makes money when you buy the books directly from him rather than buying from Amazon. And you can head on over and use the code CORK10 to get 10% off your entire purchase. He'll even give you an autograph poster. Head over to rexpickettbooks.com. And I want to thank Rex for being a supporter of the show. All right, and moving on. Kind of tying into that last article, Tim Atkin, who's a master of wine, actually never followed this guy. He just kind of came up in my news feed. I'm scouring things around news. Has a whole article on, is there any justification for wine? And this kind of ties into can wine be healthy? And he's trying to make the case that, yes, wine is good. You should drink wine in moderation. There's a whole bunch of benefits to it. It's a long meditative article, but one of the things he points out is that, kind of tying to that Wine Searcher article about what can wine be healthy, the World Health Organization recently released a warning that no level of alcohol is good. None. Zero. No, you can't consume any alcohol. It's all bad for you. We had a whole thing about this. The United States is about to review its principles. There's a whole bunch of people that are up in arms because this little group of 6 that was appointed to say, hey, what are the new levels of alcohol consumption for the United States, are all anti-alcohol people. It's a constant attack on alcohol, constant attack on wine. But this is a nice article. And Tim, I don't know you, but I did a really good read and I liked your website. So you can check that out as well. And then over from the Farm Journal, man, we're on a negative wine week. Grape growers are desperately need you to drink more wine. Well, why would you drink wine? Any amount of alcohol is bad for you, and wine's uncool, and the bottles are heavy, and it's organic, and it's sugar-free. I don't know, man. You just want a good glass of wine. Wine consumption is at a 24-year low, and because of this, basically, a lot of the big producers aren't buying the grapes. So, oftentimes you think, well, how does the wine business work? A guy owns 100 acres. He makes his wine. He sells his wine. No. Yes, but not normally. Normally, it's these huge farms that produce a lot of wines, or there's smaller farms that produce wines, that grow the grapes, but they don't produce their own wines. They sell those grapes to wine producers. So these big contracts for people who want to buy these grapes to make the wines, well, they're saying, no mas, we don't want them. Can't do it because we don't have anybody buying our wines. Wine consumption is that low. So just a huge amount are just either going to be unharvested, be left on the vine, or not get sold at all. So we're going to see a huge consolidation and probably some sort of major shakeup, I would think, in the overall wine industry. Well, on that happy note, let's go check out our wine and winery of the week, all right? All right. This is fun. So this is Casa Magoni Winery in Valle de Guadalupe. I have to say, we were off-roading, actually taking a shortcut between kind of to Highway 3 and kind of the main drag that runs through Valle there. And since we had a Jeep, we basically could take this dirt road to kind of get to where we were going. When you get close to Highway 3, there's this Casa Magoni Winery sitting out there. We're like, well, we have to try this out. And man, oh man, I have to say, we were not disappointed at all. The place is just absolutely beautiful. It's stunning. You're kind of just out here in the middle of the desert. They have a tasting room, but they also have a massive oak tree outside. And I think it was 100 degrees. And under that oak tree, it was probably around 75. Truly just lowered the temperature. Amazing. The wines were very good. It was just crazy. And he also, one of the wines I want to highlight is we actually had a Nebbiolo from there, their 2019 Casa Magoni Nebbiolo. Man, great wine. I think we gave it 91, 92 points. Just stellar. $27. You can't go wrong. That's one other thing about the price of wines down in Valle de Guadalupe. So inexpensive for the quality of the wine you're getting. Anyway, the winemaker here, it's amazing. He knows what he's doing. Check out our guide to Valle de Guadalupe and get on down there. If you're in San Diego, from San Diego, driving across the border, you can be there in less than 2 hours. Great hotels, absolutely amazing restaurants. We've covered a ton of them, so check out that. And staying in Mexico for a little bit, let's go check out our restaurant. All right, this week's restaurant is Pitahayas. I think I got that right. It's in Los Cabos, Mexico, Cabo San Lucas. It's actually in the Marriott Hacienda Del Mar Hotel. This is a beautiful outdoor venue. It overlooks the ocean. It's just, tell you what, You cannot go wrong. Absolutely an amazing place. And it has a massive wine cellar as well, which is just super cool. It's kind of underneath the restaurant. You go down. We actually were able to get a tour, get a tasting. Really, really, really nice. We ate there a couple of times when we actually stayed at this hotel. Just amazing. $30 corkage fee. You know, Mexico is interesting. So the United States is kind of one of those countries that has corkage fees. Most other countries don't, but Mexico does. So you got a nice, only a $30 corkage fee. So if you're just driving in to eat at that restaurant, you can bring your own bottle of wine. So highly, highly recommend Pitahayas. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but I'm going to go with Pitahayas. So there you go. Great restaurant, seafood, lovely. Next time you're in Cabo, check it out. And with that wraps up another This Week Uncorked. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in and joining us. As always, well, we would love it if you would kind of head on over to social media, YouTube, and subscribe, follow us, subscribe to our newsletter so you get this delivered to your inbox every week. Thanks so much again. Talk to you soon.